Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Extraordinary Expletive. You got your boy J Dubs on the mic over here.
Kenny G's on the other side, and we have recurring guest Mikel Russell, who is here to jam today with Josh, and we asked him to stay on board and talk to us today about metal, because October is metal month. Why is October metal month? Because October is spooky month. The devil. That's why.
Hail Satan, our dark Lord and Savior.
Just doing a little Justin here.
Did you just call me Justin?
No.
You are a Justin.
Your mom's a Justin. So, like we said, metal month. We've been waiting for this. We wanted to kind of span it out because, we're both pretty big metalheads, and
I wear black clothing a lot.
yeah, like I'm wearing a Colin Thompson t-shirt right now.
I'm wearing an Atlanta Falcons t-shirt, but
I have a
There's-
Word
there's-
Alive t-shirt on. That counts, right?
there's actually a recorded account. This girl that I went to college with, she added me on Facebook. She's like, "Why is it in all your Facebook pictures you're wearing a Slayer T-shirt?" And so I went through all my Facebook profile pictures. I'm like, these are all like 5 months, 6 months apart. Why am I still wearing the same Slayer T-shirt in every single one?
Similar, but not the same. But I have this cat t-shirt that's like tie-dye with the little kitties all over it, and apparently I always wear it at birthday parties. I had no idea.
That's your birthday suit.
Yeah, well, it's my. We went to go to our cousin's son's birthday party, and I show up and I'm wearing that, and Liz looks at me. She goes, "Is that your party shirt?" And I was like, "No, why?" She's like, "You were wearing that at your daughter's birthday," and I was like, "Oh, this is my only shirt."
I
have
only
to
own
take it
this
out.
one.
But yeah, like we said, metal month. I don't want to be biased because I love all music, but metal's that bread and butter, dude. It's
Definitely.
that shit.
Definitely.
It's always what I go back to. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, man, when I was like super depressed, I just miss fucking getting super drunk and listening to shitty pop music. Because now all I listen to is the stuff that I like, is metal. Like, I was listening to Protest the Hero on the way here.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just bought 10 out. My friend and I went, my friend came over for a wedding. He lives in Baltimore. And we compared CD collections
All day.
all day. And
Shout out your boy.
I counted. I had 138 CDs. He had 165, and I got mad, and I got fucking drunk and went on Amazon and fucking bought like 11 new CDs, including stuff like The Human Abstract.
You
And
still don't have 169 then.
I'm going. Well, yeah, but I spent like fucking $70. So like, we're gonna come back next week and buy like another 10.
Oh, okay.
I'm be like, all right, we're gonna get Gojira's entire discography filled out, because right now I only have Magma.
Well, see, now this episode's gonna come out. All Day's gonna hear it, and he's gonna go buy 10 albums. And
I already told him I did it.
Always gonna be
I
behind.
already told him I did it. But his doesn't count, though, because he had ripped copies. All mine are all original.
Oh, man.
You've seen them. They're
Yeah.
all original.
Yeah, all original Demi Lovato. So
Well, there were 3 Demi Lovato, okay? I had, like...
they're still original. They were good. I
They-
like it.
There were 9 Deftones, so...
Yeah. And like every Nirvana album ever. I think that's all the
I,
CDs I have
I
left for.
quit buying Nirvana CDs after 2007, because everything after that, they've just repeated themselves.
Yeah.
They're like, here's this one unreleased song from fucking, a boombox version. I'm like,
All of their
I'm not paying-
unreleased B-sides.
Yeah. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna pay fucking $10 to have one fucking new Nirvana song. I'll just illegally download it or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
I like buying albums because I like supporting artists. I know like a lot of it goes to the record company, but I feel like I don't want to be like, yeah, I love the Deftones. How many Deftones CDs do you have? 0.
Yeah. How many Deftones shirts you got? A couple.
Yeah, a few.
How do you know? Are they gonna get that? I'm
Are they-
sure there's some sort of royalties wrapped up in that. If you go buy a Deftones T-shirt from Hot Topic, they're gonna get like
Something.
something.
I
it
mean,
might be like 5%, but
Yeah,
like,
they'll still get it.
yeah.
I've been trying to see them in concert, but they haven't been around here recently. And the one time they were, like, I couldn't get off of work, so I couldn't go see them. They were on tour with Incubus, which I think would have been fucking awesome to go see, but
Dude, I just looked up the Incubus tickets for the show coming up in Pittsburgh, man, and Like, no.
Expensive?
Yeah.
I would love to see
Nosebleed
Incubus,
seats
though.
for $80.
Oh,
Kiss
jeez.
my ass. Like,
Where are they
I like
playing
them.
at?
They're-
PPG Paints Arena.
Jesus.
They're not even in their prime anymore.
No,
you know?
I mean, and they're an amazing band. Don't get me wrong, but dude, I'm not gonna go spend $265 to get floor seats to
Yeah.
see Incubus.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, unless you're playing a 3-hour fucking show, like, no, like, I'll watch it on YouTube.
Yeah,
after
I
it
saw
comes out.
Taking Back Sunday for their anniversary of Tell All Your Friends, and I think my tickets were only like $30, and I was
Yeah.
on the floor at stage 8.
Like, going to festivals ruins that shit for you because you realize, like, oh wow, for $65, I got to see 37 bands.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, here's this really big band.
The best show ever was Mayhem Festival had it was on June 6th.
It's got dates and everything.
Yeah.
It was well. I think it didn't. It wasn't from June 6th, but it started in June. This was like the year that, but in 2014, it was year Avenged Sevenfold and Korn played. You get 6 tickets for $66.66. It was a 666 special, so you were literally paying like $11 for a ticket. So I bought 6 tickets, and I just was like, "Hey, do you guys want to go to Mayhem Festival?" They were like, "Kind of." I'm like, "I'll sell you my tickets for $10," and they were like, "Okay." And
Sweet.
I literally just I literally just bought it for me and Zager to go, and then I sold 2 tickets to Garen and Kayla. I sold one to my friend Sierra, and I forget where. I think I just ate the other one because I paid $11 for it. So fuck it, like $22. I'm gonna be in the fucking front for fucking Texas Hippie
Be
Coalition.
a
and
$6 shit I
What
take
were,
later.
what were the like big names for that one?
Avenged Sevenfold, Korn, were the
Asking
headliners.
Alexandria.
Asking Alexandria.
Body Count was there that year.
Body Count featuring Ice-T, Texas Hippie Coalition, Butcher Babies.
Yeah, that was a good lineup then.
Vela Maya played that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
It
I was
was-
there.
I
I had
had-
no idea he was there, but I was there that year.
I had a great time.
Yeah, it was sweet. All right, so going on to what we decided on talking about. To start it out, metal-wise, we're going to talk about the origin of the death that is the metal scene, and where did it come from. So, basically,
It took a long way to get to where we just got to.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
first ever metal riff or metal song you ever heard sounded nothing like that whatsoever.
Definitely.
No, a lot of people like to credit Helter Skelter by the Beatles as being like the first metal song.
Yes, actually, I was just doing a little research myself, and oh geez, who came out with it first? Helter Skelter was almost like a response that Harrison said, "Oh, okay, well," because I forget what is it? Oh Jesus, Born to Be Wild, I want to say, came out, and they had that very fast and loud song. It was voted one of the heaviest songs that anybody had heard, and the Beatles were like, "Oh, okay, well, I got you," and came out with Helter Skelter, which was super loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was loud and it was in your face for the time. Like not so much like people listening now. They're like, that was nothing. I'm like, yeah, but you got to remember, like this is what would be considered like the third wave of rock at this point. Like the first wave being like Elvis Presley, the second wave being the Beatles. So like the heaviest thing you've heard to this point is "I Want to Hold Your Hand" by the Beatles. So
Yeah.
when now you're getting into it, it's heavier because like Deep Purple was one of those bands that came out in '68.
Yes.
60. Then Black Sabbath came out the same year, and you gotta think like Godzilla. Like they're like, wow, this is so fucking heavy, and like it's a great song, but by today's standards, it's not even close to being
Yeah,
heavy.
it's not heavy at all
Yeah,
when you think
yeah.
about it. Going back to like original roots, which most music seems to always play back to, is blues. And
yeah.
there was an artist by the name of Pat Hare. I briefly discussed this with you earlier, but he had 2 songs. I forget the first one he came out with. The other one was called "I'm Gonna Kill My Baby." And it was a song about his wife or girlfriend at the time cheating on him. And he was just basically talking about he's going to kill her. So one, that came out with, that morbid accession of lyrics that metal has nowadays. The first inspiration that you can take from that and bring it out and be like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like you got all kinds of shit nowadays, the media itself, metal is devil worshipping, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But he also was one of the first blues artists to really use distortion and make his guitar a lot louder than what you'd normally hear.
Yeah.
So I couldn't believe that. Like I actually listened to it and I was like, what the fuck? Like this, there's no way this is metal. It's literally just, a fucking boom, 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 the kind of song, It's not what you would picture metal, like you said,
Well, Black Sabbath, they got their sound because Tony Iommi, his last day on the job, fucking crushed his finger and had to wear a thimble.
He cut off 2 fingers.
Yeah.
And he had, like, fake fingers on his 2 middle ones.
Yeah, they were plastic tipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had to tune his guitar down so he could actually play it.
He had to tune his guitar down and use lighter gauge strings so he could actually still play. I know, like, I've done research on that because I'm a guitar player, like.
And you want to be Tony Iommi?
Well, yeah, I mean,
You're like,
who doesn't? Yeah,
you're like, all right, I'm gonna cut this wood right here.
So,
Mom, get a Band-Aid.
so when he cut his fingers, he was already a guitar player prior to that. So it really scared the shit out of him because he was like, I'm never going to be able to play again. Well, somebody showed him a crude video of somebody from a different country. I don't remember where, but he only had his first two fingers, and he was playing these crazy solos and stuff. And he was like, "Oh my god, like I can still play." He's like,
"We got it, boys."
He's like, "Oh man, like I actually have a chance."
Yeah.
To fulfill this. It was his hobby at the time, and then it turned into his job, and he's just like, wow, like, this is real. Like, I can still do this. And then, like, he had to figure out that he could do lighter gauge strings and lower tuning so that it was easier for him to do bends and, like, actually hold down the chords and stuff because he cut the tips of his fingers off.
Yeah.
So he can't feel, how much pressure he's pushing down on the frets and everything. So he was like, well, I got to figure something out.
Well, as he got better, too, that gave him the ability to bend even better than most people could because he didn't have that feeling. He just fuck it.
Yeah, he's one of those players that because he had that injury, he had to go by what it sounded like, not by how it felt.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as if you use like a slider for guitar.
Yeah.
Doing slide guitar. You don't really feel where you're playing on the guitar. You have to listen to it to get the right notes. And I think that's like how he figured out to play. Because obviously if you chop off your fingers, you're gonna have to relearn.
Something. But before we get like super into Sabbath, like going from the bluesy shit, we had mentioned the Who, and they came out with a lot of songs that were heavy for the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They used a lot of fast guitar playing.
And Keith Moon was just a fucking beast on the drums.
And that's inspiration that gave somebody else that drive to do shit with. They were heavy for the time. Going into another one that I was researching was like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
They were heavy. Yes, they were
way ahead of their time.
They were super blues rock.
They were not ahead of their time because they ripped off a lot of their songs. But
what I mean by that is like because they got the publicity that they did, and like all the other bands that they kind of ripped off, like other bands were saying like that's our shit. You know what I mean? But then they were like, well,
do something about it.
Yeah, and nobody did.
Yeah.
So by being ahead of their time, they were one of the only bands that like released that kind of music and like actually got radio play compared to the bands that they ripped off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even when we talk about though, like I would say like Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and Judas Priest would be your cornerstones because they all came out pre-1970, so those are like your cornerstones. But then you have the bands like Led Zeppelin and even like Jimi Hendrix that really helped shape the genre because Jimi Hendrix was doing a lot of distortion shit, all the crazy shit with the guitar before anybody else did it. And people were like, Jimi Hendrix is the greatest guitar player of all time. Like, he's not. He just did it in a time that no one else did it. And for that, he is an innovator and he should be recognized for that. Not so much that I mean, he was a great guitar player. Do not get me wrong. But whenever people were like, he's the best of all time, like, he's not the best of all time. He
Not
was
anymore.
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
But at the time, no one had ever seen shit like that before.
Yeah.
And even then, they're like, he played the solo with his teeth. I'm like, it sounded like shit.
Yeah.
But he
mean-
played a guitar that was on fire, and it sounded like shit. But he was
He was
doing
the
it.
first one to do it.
Yeah, he was the G.G. Allen at the time. People were like, this black man, what are he doing to my rock music?
I mean,
Oh,
like you said,
Jesus.
he was an innovator, and you could look at him as an entrepreneur because he was making sounds that nobody really heard before.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know, that was just like, I mean, look at Woodstock '69. I mean, like,
Yeah, he's like, what's up, high motherfuckers? You want to hear the national anthem?
and he just cranked it, and
Everybody was asleep. He's
Yeah.
like, wake the fuck up. I want to see a circle pit in this bench. You know, that'd be crazy. But, yeah, I agree with you on Judas Priest, Sabbath, and Deep Purple.
'Cause
Like,
even-
Deep Purple still had that more psychedelic vibe to them,
Yeah.
you know, but they were still...
They were heavier.
They were heavier for sure. Another one to touch on would be like Iron Butterfly.
Yes.
With Inagata Devita, like 17-minute long song.
Yeah, but
but
those motherfuckers were high when they did that.
yeah, for sure. But like the tone of the bass in that song, you know, just
Iron Maiden's out there. They're like, okay, we're gonna play a 17-minute song. Next for you, that'll be our last song. Plink goes on next. Okay, just stay tuned.
yeah. It's like, hey, do that solo again. All right, cool. It's like, dude, how many minutes are we up to? 17. Holy fuck. Yeah. We can have 3 more
Perfect.
minutes in there. But you know, that's another thing that happened with the down tuning, you know, and then came Sabbath.
yeah,
Then that seems to be a staple in a lot of music nowadays. You don't hear a lot of heavy music nowadays that's in a standard tuning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even like, you know, shit we were fucking around with earlier, it's got a standard 6 on it, but we have a 7th string to drop that tone down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in a lot of metal bands, you will see, you know, 5, sometimes even 6-string basses,
Yeah.
which is fucking insane, you know? Like, how low are you going to go?
Like we were talking like Deftones earlier. Their fucking guitarist plays with like what is it, like a 8-string guitar?
yeah.
At
Yeah.
what point are you just playing like a bigger bass? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know like Veil of Maya, their bass player plays a 7-string bass,
That's stupid.
and he does like very intricate like sweep picking stuff, like along with the guitar. I mean, I've seen playthroughs, and it's just like, you know, that right there shows how far along metal has come.
Yeah.
Because the bass player, I mean, bass players way back in the day, before even like metal was even thought about, I mean, you just hold the rhythm.
Yeah,
you know
you
what I
play
mean?
3 fucking notes and you
Yeah.
follow along with the drummer. and
Exactly.
there you go.
And now like in metal music, bass players, they keep along with the guitar.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Paul Gray actually had a 5-string bass whenever he was still alive and with Slipknot.
I think
Yeah.
so. For
I
certain
think Paul Gray
songs.
did use a 5-string bass a lot.
All right, we're trailing off a little bit here. So
Yeah.
let's go back to Sabbath.
Yeah.
Now, Sabbath, when they came out originally in '68, and I believe their debut album, self-titled, dropped in '70, they were, in my opinion, what became that genre of metal that everybody talked about. They had the stereotypes. They had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you had Ozzy Osbourne coming out, like, singing about more, like, okay, so you go to Zeppelin and they were singing about, you know, stories of fantasy and shit, but it was more like triumphant and about glorious things.
Right, and,
And then
Ozzy's singing
Ozzy's singing
Iron
about
Man and
fucking-
Paranoid. And,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
singing about death and fucking,
War
you know, all
pigs.
kinds of
Yeah,
shit.
War Pigs. Yeah.
They were like a cornerstone and a forefront for a lot, because without Sabbath, in my personal opinion, you wouldn't have genres like doom metal and stoner metal that are out nowadays.
No, because I think that a lot of those stoner metal and the doom metal bands, if you listen to them, they draw a lot of inspiration off of Sabbath.
Yeah, you listen to the song Sweet Leaf, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is literally the original stoner metal song.
I could
It's
picture-
about smoking
Yeah.
weed, and it's heavy as shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I could picture a band like The Sword or who made the album Dopamine?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Electric Wizard.
Okay.
Electric Wizard or The Sword. I could picture both of them. Like, if you should just show me that song Sweet Leaf, and you're like, listen to the opening riff, I'm like, Yeah, that's fucking Electric Wizard. You're like, nah, it's Sabbath. If I never heard the song before,
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee if you like interviewed like the Sword, the band, like the guitar players, they'd be like, Black Sabbath's a huge influence. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's-
I mean, a lot of metal players, like, if you talk to them, they'll be like, Black Sabbath is like, I mean, Metallica, for instance, James Hetfield,
Yeah.
he's like huge influence for me was Black Sabbath.
he was.
His huge influence is alcohol.
Oh,
Oh my god, he just checked into rehab this week.
but like, it's just, I mean, Black Sabbath is really where it started.
One of my first
mean-
songs I ever learned to play was fucking Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's such an iconic riff.
Yeah, even
there's-
whenever I was 10 years old, that was like one of my favorite songs. Was like War Pigs and Iron Man. I'm like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
War Pigs, you know, had that very, like, almost ambient metal sound. You know what I mean? They really drew everything out, and
Yeah.
Dun-dun,
yeah, it was
dun, dun, dun,
it was neat as shit, man.
Yeah.
it was something that I don't know, it really drew me to the genre. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you got bands like Judas Priest when they came out. They were more fast, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They weren't like they weren't as
British
demonic
invasion.
and dark. I
right,
guess,
and
but-
I think really the last band to be like the last of like the first group would probably be Motorhead, because Motorhead came out later, but they were still before everybody else. And
Yeah.
like you listen to like early shit like Bomber, like they're faster. It's more thrashy, but they're using that double bass and
yeah.
Well, they're kind of more so like the founding of speed metal. They kind of like
they were different enough
yeah
that they led other people down that path, but they were still kind of the same as the original group.
yeah
So
like a lot of like going to thrash metal. I mean, they call it like the British invasion because a lot of bands from Britain were doing this fast paced stuff like Judas Priest.
yeah,
I mean
Even fucking the Ramones, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, that shit was quick as hell.
yeah, and
So,
it's just one of those things that like it starts from one band and like it changes everything.
I mean, we'll get to thrash later, but that's literally what it was bands
Yeah.
like Motorhead that played faster, and then bands like Metallica were influenced. They're like, okay, they play fast, but we want to kind of have this punk rock sound too.
yeah.
Because they're even, I mean, Metallica's huge fans of the Misfits, and the Misfits are like one of the biggest punk bands ever,
Yeah.
just because of their fucking logo.
yeah. I once seen there's like a waiver. It was on my Facebook memories. This guy who tattoos a Misfits skull quite often, and he makes people sign a waiver
Oh, I've seen that.
saying that they'll only listen to anything with Danzig in
Danzig,
it.
yeah.
It's fucking
Yeah,
hilarious,
fuck
but,
Michael Graves. You're not allowed to listen to Michael Graves Misfits, only Danzig. Which they
You must also agree that anything that Michael Graves did was complete and total shit.
they've been doing shows ever since Riot Festival in Chicago a few years ago. The Misfits have actually done a few shows.
That's
The
sweet.
original with Glenn Danzig, Jerry Only, and
Glenn Danzig. I once seen an Onion article, and it said Glenn Danzig sues the universe. Like,
Glenn Danzig, Jerry Only. Oh God, what's the name of the
Steve Buscemi?
Wolfgang von Frankenstein.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly only know Danzig. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
and then I think Dave Lombardo from Slayer has been their drummer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
So they've been doing a few shows, but if you go to their shows, you're not allowed to have your cell phone. You have to like check it in, and they like seal it up in a bag so you can't take pictures or anything.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because Danzig's like, you're here to enjoy the fucking music. You're not here to take pictures or video. You're here.
I mean,
to
he
listen
has
to
a
my music.
point. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I do get the whole point of like you want to take pictures to like as memorabilia, but like the people that just stand there with their phones up like this
Yeah,
the
just
entire
recording.
time.
You're not experiencing the show. You're
Yeah.
experiencing that little box on your fucking phone.
Exactly.
That's experiencing the show.
Exactly. And like, I mean, I do take videos every now and then just to like, this is my favorite song that they're playing. you
Yeah.
know?
If I'm ever doing that, though, it's above my head.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
and
so
I'm
I can
still
fucking
like
see them. Yeah.
jamming out,
This video's gonna suck, but I'm gonna love listening to it later.
I'm way too old now, but a few years ago, I didn't even have my phone because I'm like, I'm going to the pit. And I get in the pit, and I'm like, I'm so scared right now. I'm just running in a circle. I'm hitting this large man, then I'm hitting the small man, then I'm coming back here. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
So Motorhead, we could definitely say is like a cornerstone for thrash metal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
do you? Who can you honestly say before that
Played that fast.
or played that style?
Yeah.
Like,
Nobody.
there's no other band that I can say before them that sounded like Motorhead.
I mean, let's face it, the Brits fucking invented heavy metal.
Yeah.
Whether it was fucking the Beatles and Helter Skelter or Judas Priest or fucking Black Sabbath, the Brits were the ones that were like, we love the devil now.
You guys take our nation from us, we're gonna give you
Yeah.
Satan. But
I mean,
Judas Priest though, like, I
Yeah.
get it. They were heavy, but they also had some not heavy songs, like
Yeah, they had a lot of radio
radio play
a lot of
shit.
radio,
kind of like softer stuff, like
Yeah, yeah.
what is it, Running After Midnight?
Yeah.
living,
Living After Midnight. Excuse me. Yeah, like
Yeah.
rocking.
And then if you look at like the song Painkiller, I mean,
that intro drum riff is one of my favorite fucking
Yeah.
drum riffs ever.
I mean, if you compare those two songs, even they're just like, is this the same band?
yeah.
You know?
That was one thing. Since we're on, this group here, like that was one of the first that people said about Sabbath, because there were a lot of bands who had some heavy songs like that, like one or two,
Yeah.
and then the rest were, like that radio play kind of bullshit. But Sabbath was the first one to actually make like a whole album that was just that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was like, damn,
Yeah.
is this them? Is this what they're doing? Yo, this is good, But then moving on from there, talking about your fucking t-shirts, like, I feel personally one of my biggest influences, and I think the biggest influence for a lot of bands nowadays, is Slayer.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
early 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
No Mercy came out.
What was it, 81?
No Mercy came out, I think, in '83, and then Rain and Blood came out in like '87, because back then bands didn't release fucking albums every year. They like Five Finger Death Punch
Except
every
for Megadeth.
yeah,
for whatever reason.
Yeah, it says they were formed in 81. I don't know when their first
I think
album
Show No
dropped.
Mercy was '83, and then Rain and Blood was '85 or '86.
I mean, they were the ones to really like kind of take the whole, worship Satan thing and then really like just kind of use that for everything they did. Like Raining Blood.
They tried to be more hardcore, and you even see that today with bands like Whitechapel. They're like, "Hey, here's our song. It's called Demon Defiling a Witch." I'm like, "You're trying too hard now. Like, you're trying too hard. Just let's tone it back a little bit."
Yeah, like you got bands nowadays like Infant Annihilator.
Counter Decapitation.
Yeah, right. It's like, dude,
Cannibal
I can't
Corpse.
even read that on your fucking
Cannibal
symbol.
Corpse has been around for like 30 years.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have, but like it's just like
The shock
the name
value.
itself.
Yeah,
you know, what I mean?
if you listen to Cannibal Corpse and they play some Demi Lovato shit, I'm gonna be taken aback. Like, what?
Yeah.
This isn't what
Yeah.
I expected.
Yeah.
The Corpse Grinder at fucking Mayhem Festival was like, "This next song is a headbang competition."
Yeah. I win. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, nothing stronger than love except Corpse Grinder's neck.
Oh
His
god.
neck's as big as my head.
Yeah.
What would take you long to chop through a fucking redwood tree or Corpse Grinder's neck? Because I'm not even sure.
Probably his neck.
Corey Taylor has a really big neck too.
His
Speaking
his
of
neck is like,
speaking of huge necks in metal, let's get back on point here. Big necks in metal. Corey Taylor's neck is fucking huge as well.
it's so.
You think they have sleep apnea? Like, that's a thing,
Corey Taylor's neck is so unproportional to his body, though. Like if you like just see like, a picture from here up, it's like, he looks like some big ass dude. But then like you see a full body picture, he looks like some skinny ass dude with his big ass neck.
Like, dude, you look like a fucking old 90s WWF wrestling doll.
You look
what
like
the
Kurt
fuck?
the fuck Angle, because Kurt Angle's had a broken neck like 9 times. At this point, his neck is literally bigger than his head.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like the back of his neck bulges out past his head.
From the sheer awesomeness.
just
held
from being
inside
Kurt
of it.
fucking Angle.
Yeah, I got this neck broke from the all my Olympic gold medals.
So what?
All right,
What-
so Slayer. Go back to Slayer.
Ooh.
Here we are.
So we skipped ahead to thrash.
I mean, would you consider them thrash?
They're one of the big 4.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I guess you're right. See, I don't know. They had that dark tone to me that always excited me. There was something about it, like you said, like Raining Blood. Like that song was legit.
I mean, the guitars, they did a lot of stuff with like whammy bars and harmonics and stuff. And literally, they said that like they made that sound because they wanted to make it sound like people screaming.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's literally why they.
Well,
had
yeah,
that
that's
in that
what
song.
that's. I mean, if you listen to Angel of Death, he screams into the guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's screaming,
Yeah.
and now it sounds the guitar. You're like, oh.
If you hear that through like the distortion through the amp, it's just this whole like, it just sounds evil.
Yeah.
You know, I like that they're literally like they are like the band that started the whole, in my opinion, like satanic, like we're fucking evil.
I think,
Yeah.
like, I don't know
And
when.
all employees must carve Slayer into their arm before returning to work.
Yeah.
When did Deicide come out?
D side?
Yeah, you ever listened to Deicide?
No.
Deicide satanic death metal. I think it came out. I want to say it was at least the early '90s. So
I mean, the whole like black metal scene too. I mean, that's a little farther.
yeah, the thing with all of those thrash metal bands though was they all slowed down later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, Slayer's picked it back up, but like, you gotta think with Slayer, you had like Rain and Blood, and then like what? You're talking like 7-8 years later, you have Seasons in the Abyss.
Yeah.
Which it's still Slayer, but now you have more melodic, like it's slower.
Yeah.
And,
And like songs like Bloodline.
yeah. Metallica did it like with their Black album, and then Reload and Reload, and
yeah.
I mean Garage Inc. was a cover album, so let's not count that. But
I mean,
I'm
even
not-
Death Magnetic. It's not. I mean, they did start to like come back to the thrash.
yeah, but
But-
I mean even Slayer did because they had like if you like World Pain and Blood, that was like Slayer being like, hey, we're thrash metal
Yeah.
again, and you're like, wow, this is really fucking good.
Yeah.
And Megadeth with what was their last album that just came out? You'd probably know this.
Dystopia.
Yeah, that
was
was
really
really
fast.
that was really
See,
good.
I didn't listen to it.
Oh, it was
need to.
really good.
They won a Grammy for the title track.
Damn, Mustaine probably popped a big boner about that.
Yeah, but what's really funny is whenever they like went to accept the award, the house band played Metallica songs. So like there was interviews and stuff, and he was like, like I'm over that now. You know?
Did they pay him off? You know,
Well,
they pay. It was like fucking Headfield's up there, dude. I'll give you $3,000 if you play Enter Sandman.
He's like, remember the time he cried in our fucking,
documentary.
Into the Monster document, or what was it? Some kind of monster. Remember that time he cried? I want to see that again.
But like, it was just one of those moments for like him, because all those years of him putting out all this work, and then he finally like gets a Grammy for what he's worked on. Like, he completely ignored the whole Metallica band thing playing while he was getting that, because he's like, it was such a surreal
The
moment.
thing is, I don't even think Dystopia is as good as Countdown to Extinction or Rust in Peace or Peace Sells. But, I mean,
well,
what year did that Dystopia even come out? That was 2017?
I think it was 17.
Or was it 2018?
It was 17 or 18.
I usually don't see. I'm not sure, but I usually don't get back to like listening to albums until like 4 or 5 years later, and then I'm like, wow, all these great albums came out in this year. So I can't say there was anything specific that came out. The Motherload might have came out that year, or did it come out the year before? Mastodon is the Motherload.
I think it was the year before. I'm not sure though.
It might have been the year before, because I would say that one probably should have.
I thought Emperor of Sand was their
Emperor.
most recent.
Yeah, but I think Emperor
And that was like
Sand came out in
2016,
2000.
2017.
The Motherload might have came out in 2015 then, and then Emperor Sand might have came out in 2018, 2017. I think Emperor Sand came out in 2018. Again, it takes
I think
me
it
like
was 17.
2 years to get
Yeah.
back to this stuff.
But man, we trail off a lot.
Yeah.
That's
my
probably my
favorite.
fault.
No, it's okay. It's all good. But I mean that okay, we can also go with Megadeth, because since we're on that, I mean, that early '80s, we should.
We're gonna do thrash next episode, so don't
Yeah.
say, don't
Oh,
say
yeah,
too
dude.
much.
Yeah, we've got a bunch to say, but I feel like
We're not covering hair metal because nobody actually likes hair metal.
Yeah.
anymore.
If you guys like hair metal, just go watch The Dirt
Yeah.
and then call it a day. That'll be our
Or
podcast
listen to
episode.
early Pantera.
Yeah,
Oh, Pantera's Metal Magic.
but I feel okay with Motorhead. and kind of with Slayer more than I would feel with like, I mean, obviously not Judas Priest or Black Sabbath, but they were some of the first ones to kind of get into that screaming
Yeah.
that started into metal,
Mhm.
and God knows where the fuck it came from. Like,
Yeah.
I have yet to sit down and go through the books about that, because the metal vocals that you hear nowadays they're not just yelling. It is something that takes talent and something that takes time and practice to do. And
Oh yeah.
if you just out there,
You
like,
can't just
your
yell.
fucking voice hurts. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
sounds like shit if you're
Yeah.
just yelling. You know what I mean? You got to actually sit down and fucking hone that skill.
Like there is, I mean, the screaming in general. There are so many different techniques that you can do nowadays. I mean, like there are like the yell type vocals, but you don't just literally yell.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain specific way you have to do
like
it.
like Architects is that like
Yeah.
kind of yell like
that's
scream.
that's like
you know?
a yell scream, like that. Like, so if you look at, well, going back to Metallica, like the growl type vocals, it's it's like that,
Yeah.
but you project
Yeah.
it more,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
basically it's a lot to do with your diaphragm and stuff like that.
Yeah, with gutturals and lows,
Yeah.
you get a lot of your diaphragm usage rather than like
Yeah.
with highs is a lot of like squeezing your vocal cords up top. You know,
Yeah.
they're one of the first ones that like really got me to like want to scream something. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, dude. Like Motorhead, like he just sounded like a dude who hit a meth pipe for fucking 40 years.
I mean,
The Ace of Spades, the Ace of Spades.
Let
I
me-
mean, that's how
let
he
me-
talked.
let me kind
Yeah,
of have
but-
the same thing that Johnny Cash did, where he's not singing, he's just talking fast.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all he's doing. I apologize after we return from DVDs, but I do want to mention that Deicide, the satanic death metal band, was actually formed in 1989.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
they were around the same time that all this other stuff was going on.
Yeah.
Which, if you've never listened to them, I would suggest it. The only reason I know about them is because,
I once killed a goat in my backyard.
no, honestly, I was watching Fuse and I fell asleep and I woke up and there was an advertisement for fucking a new Deicide album that was going to be on sale at the FYE store. And this is like back in like 2006. And it was literally just like a guy with like a Sony Handycam. He would like film somebody and be like, "Hey, take a listen to this album, tell me what you know." And he's like holding the fucking Walkman in his hand with like the CD in it. They were like, "Yeah, that's pretty fucking hard." Like, and I'm like, "Wow, I want to check out this D-side band." Then like I'm looking at their album, like their songs, it's like, yeah, like Butcher the Goats, like it's just shit like that, like all kinds of satanic shit. I'm like, okay. And then, I mean, that might put them at the same time about Cannibal Corpse too.
Yeah.
I apologize. DVDs are gonna be late.
Oh, that's okay. You better hurry up before you get that late fee. I don't know if we have any extra pants. But okay, so with bands like Judas Priest and Black Sabbath, like, you know, eventually came like Alice Cooper,
Yeah.
and you know, Cooper had that kind of stage show too, and then you can
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
see that influence from Zeppelin. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they had that big presence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Aside from their music too, when they play live, it's like, dude, holy fuck! It's like watching a theater. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was
I mean,
insane.
Alice Cooper, I mean, he's still playing live today.
Yeah.
And he still does these crazy, like, shows. He puts on a show.
Yeah.
He doesn't just go up there to play music. And,
And that's what it is. I mean, it's entertainment. You know, that is the music industry. It is.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. But, sorry, go on.
like, I feel like a lot of bands nowadays try to do what Alice Cooper does. Because he's one of those people that really, like, took the whole, you know, I'm on a stage, it's time to actually put on a show.
Yeah.
And if you look at bands like Avatar, have you listened to Avatar?
Yeah.
Like, I went and saw them, they opened up for Trivium, and, I mean, they put on a show.
Yeah, I got
mean,
to see them at Rock on the Range.
Yeah. I mean, they literally, like, they come out and they act like they're in a circus almost. Like, it's just insane. And I feel like a lot of that style of doing, like, metal shows or rock shows came from people like Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he doesn't do, like, all these crazy things like that, but he's still
mean,
entertainment.
He had like the face paint You know, he had
Yeah.
the fucking leather. He had the spikes.
Yeah.
The big ass boots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was way cooler than Kiss, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He kicked ass.
Kiss
Yeah.
had a wrestler, okay?
We were talking about Cooper, by the way.
I know.
Okay, I didn't know if you heard.
I heard
when he
you.
came down.
Cooper was like the first shock rocker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of the first shock rockers.
I mean, he was mentioned in even shit like Wayne's World. You know what I mean? He was in there,
Yeah.
and you know we're not worthy, we're not worthy. But he was one that really broke the stereotype, in my opinion, on that movie in particular, because most people, okay, let's just get into this real quick. When metal came out, you know, all these teens are listening to it. This is the new hit thing in the nation, and then the media grabs it, and
Yeah.
it's about devil worshipping and
that
Satan.
That
and
didn't
it's-
take root for at least until the 80s.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but
So it was like a good 15 years into metal's run, but that's whenever they started to take over.
I mean,
And then-
even back like rock music, it was the same thing. You know, obviously.
oh yeah,
metal-
play Stairway to Heaven backwards. It's about
yeah. I
finding
mean,
the devil and shit.
if you go like, it's the same thing
It's
with
the album
metal.
cover.
Like the media thinks it's the devil's work. It was the same thing with rock music when it came out too, because you know, everybody listened to like country and
And
like,
pop.
Yeah.
And that, you know, you can take that into like kind of like America in itself. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
this thing's taken away from this thing. Let's talk shit on it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
what
I
happened, but-
love old country though.
yeah, I agree.
Like
But
really,
that's off topic. What I wanted to say is breaking the stereotype, like Alice Cooper in that movie, Wayne's World. They go to talk to him, and they're like, yeah, something. And he goes, oh, you mean something, Pennsylvania? And he just starts going into this, like, crazy history facts. Yeah, it actually turned out back in 1963, there was 3 people that blah, 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 blah. And, like, he was actually a very intelligent person.
That's how he is in real life.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
I
And most
mean-
people, because of media bullshit, like, oh, well, these are Satan worship dumbass motherfuckers. You know what I mean? They don't know
Yeah.
anything other than how to play
and
guitar.
that's the biggest thing that bothers me though. They're like, that guy's just screaming. He doesn't have any talent vocally. I'm like, you try and do that.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I follow this guy on YouTube, Jared Dines.
I was just about to say that.
He
Shout
does,
out to him.
He does this series where he goes around at metal shows and he will ask people, "Can you do a metal scream for me?"
Yeah, give me your best metal scream right now.
And then people just be like, and then they stop. He's like, "Oh man, that hurts." And he's like, "Would you say that it's something that takes talent to do?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, 100%."
And then he'll walk up to some guy, and he's like, yo, man, give me your best high right now. And he's like, "Rah!" And he's like, wow, man, how long you been doing vocals for? And the guy's like, oh, about like 10 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's not something that just developed overnight. Like, we were discussing, like, it's a talent. Like,
Yeah.
in the form of, like, music, like, it's just like playing guitar, learning to play drums. Like, you don't just go out there and fucking... You'll rip your shit open.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
will no longer be able to
Yeah.
do shit. You know what I mean? You have to hone that skill.
There.
I mean, look what happened to M Shadows even. He
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
trained vocalist, and M Shadows fucking took like a year off.
Yeah.
That's because he was doing it the wrong way, and he shredded his vocals, so he could still sing, but he couldn't scream anymore because it would damage him further.
And that's why we never hear Waking the Fallen live.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I seen him in Rock on the Range, and they came out and did Unholy Confessions as a fucking encore. I was like,
he brought back some screams on the Nightmare album,
A little bit.
a little
but not-
bit, but
not-
it wasn't like their first 2 albums.
Man, talking about everything, I'm so pumped. Like, next week's gonna be thrash. Then we're gonna like hit like the 2000s metal, and then after that, I don't know. It's probably gonna be like
we got to talk about the branches that happen. Like
there are
that's
so many though.
this might be metal 2 months.
yeah, it could be. It
there are
should.
so many subgenres. And
That's what I was just about to touch base on. Metal is probably one of the biggest genres that hit the market, and then you go from metal into thrash metal, speed metal. You go into fucking doom metal,
And you see
death metal.
you see bands like fucking Sugar Ray was a speed metal band at one point, and fucking The Sword is doom metal, Electric Wizard stoner metal, Dillinger Escape Plan is mathcore, which in itself is like a fucking
it's insane.
is part of like metalcore, which had like Bring Me the Horizon, which also had a branch of deathcore, and
Yeah, I mean, there's
You have
there's
death metal
metal.
meets metalcore, and then deathcore, and
yeah.
the
There-
shit
there's
goes,
so much.
dude. the fucking roots reach for days.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Like
But
literally though, you get to a point where like the branch, you're like, okay, can you name one of the bands of this genre? And you're like, I have 3.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Dillinger Escape Plan, can you name another mathcore band?
Horse the band.
Horse?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing? Or are you fucking with me?
They're a real thing. I think they were considered mathcore.
Okay, so we have 2 bands we can name in
Yeah,
mathcore.
I can't.
I mean, they're not really metal, but Tool, when how do you
Anima?
Yeah, they used math for that.
Yeah.
Like they literally used math problems to write the songs.
Would it be mathcore?
It's not
I don't-
mathcore
Would that be-
though, but they're
Would that be math?
Tool's kind of a metal band.
Math
Kind
metal.
of.
They're
kind
like-
of.
They're
They're an in between, I think.
it's like Metallica, where they were too punk for the metal clubs and too metal for the punk clubs. Tool's like too hard for the rock fans, but too rock for the real metal
Yeah.
fans. So that's why people are
Yeah.
always like, Tool sucks.
I feel like Tool's kind of like a metal band that you watered down with mushroom tea.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's very specific.
Yeah, like they're like, hey, we really like drugs. This song's called Schism.
I mean, look at their music videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Alex Gray does all their art. You know.
Yeah.
because like 46 and 2 is really heavy.
Yeah, they have some, I mean, kick-ass riffs.
Yeah.
Especially like drum wise. Like I love that. Like they have off beats and stuff. They do weird timings all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not your stereotypical norm, but somehow it reached to the mainstream. And
And even a band like Deftones, who I would probably say is like my favorite band, just because I've never heard a Deftones album I don't like. If you listen to Adrenaline, their first album, compared to fucking Gore, their last album, they're nothing alike at all.
you got a valid point there.
Same dude.
So I just did that, and it reminded me. We didn't say shit about Dio.
Well, yeah,
Dio.
no, because Dio was in Black Sabbath, so like technically,
So
Yeah.
I mean, we can go from
Dio's
there, but,
solo career didn't come out till like later though.
like late '80s,
No, he came out in the
early '80s.
It was like
late
the
'70s.
late
Well,
70s.
he was in Rainbow first, and then
Sabbath.
and then his solo, and then there was a time
It might have
after
been
his
the early
solo
80s.
that he was in. It was a kind of a super group, I think.
Chickenfoot.
No,
Them crooked vultures.
Oh, that's actually a really good super group.
yeah,
They are really
Yeah.
they are good. But yeah, Dio. I mean,
Dio's like one of those godfathers of heavy metal, though. People
Yeah,
are like,
that's what I was gonna say. People call him like the Godfather of rock. I
yeah.
was like, what?
I mean, he, like, what blows my mind is he was one of those vocalists that he swears, or he swore, I mean, rest in peace, that,
Please
Dio.
press F for Dio.
yeah, please press F. He did not take any vocal lessons, ever.
I mean, I could see that, though,
I
because
mean-
he's just like, hold it, diver.
He said that, that the only musical lessons that he ever took was trumpet in school when he was, like, really young.
I could see that because Dio's vocals don't really like, impress me or blow me away, but
He still hits some really
for
good
what
highs.
he's doing, they are fantastic.
Yeah, that's like Ozzy. Like
Yeah.
Ozzy doesn't sing good at all.
No, but for what he's doing,
Yeah,
it's
it works.
perfect.
Yeah, it works.
AC/DC, same thing.
Yeah.
What
mean-
Brian Johnson and Bon Scott, they both.
They sound like shit. Like, you don't see them singing pop music. You know what
No.
I mean?
They're like, all right, you as the guitarist, I need you to play like A, E, D, and then a G, and I'm gonna sing to that, and that's every AC/DC song.
Every song.
Except for like it's just in a different order. You
Yeah.
don't know which one.
Listening to fucking AC/DC sing is like listening to Gilbert Godfrey read 50 Shades of Grey.
God.
You know what I mean? Like, it's bad. You're like, oh, fuck.
I bet it works perfect.
reaches his hand across his shirt.
It works
Fuck.
perfectly for what they're doing, though.
Yeah. It wouldn't work for anything else.
No.
But it's the thing, though. Like, if I'm like, hey, if you could like if you had a picture dictionary, because no one's ever opened a fucking dictionary and seen a picture, that's retarded. That's an encyclopedia. So if I'm like, hey, we have a picture dictionary, how would you describe rock in one picture? And you just show me a picture of AC/DC, I'd say, okay, I get it.
I wouldn't.
I mean, they're really
The fucking
really
golf
iconic.
caps and fucking shorts have to do with rock and roll.
The schoolboy outfit.
Yeah. Fuck
Angus
that
Young.
shit.
But I feel like AC/DC is like, if you want to be a rock band, that's what you want to be, is AC/DC.
No way. Oh, my dogs are barking at something. I apologize.
Well,
for
I mean,
this.
there's a couple bands throughout the years that have like tried to make the same type of music, like this simple chords. Jet, the band Jet,
Yeah.
they did a lot of. They sounded like AC/DC. There's Airborne. They're kind of on the metal scene a little bit, but they sound like AC/DC, you know, and they kind of took their sound and kind of just copied it in a sense, but they still wrote their own music,
Right.
you know.
I mean, you can say that about like the ball caps on the school outfits, but like, who would you put there? The Beatles in suits?
For a rock band?
Yeah,
No.
the Beatles were a rock band.
Yeah, but that's not what, like, I would... What is rock? Like, it's not AC/DC.
I think it is.
I don't know.
I think that's like the epitome. They just sing about some dumb shit, play a few chords, get out there,
Yeah, I get it.
and they sell so much.
So
But I
what,
mean-
what would you say would be the picture of a metal band?
For a metal band,
Yeah.
I would take Slayer.
Yeah, I would definitely take Slayer.
I would take Slayer because you have like four dudes that like there's blood pouring upon them and they're just fucking raking.
I
on
mean,
the guitar.
when I saw,
I want Kerry King with the bald head though. I don't want him with hair.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw them for their farewell tour.
What, their first farewell tour, or like their 59th?
Just this recent one. So, Kerry King, when he came out, he had literal, like, big-ass chains just hanging from his waist. Like, real chains. And that is, like, the image of a metal guitar player. Like,
Yeah.
that people see. You know what I mean? Because... Who does that? Like, really?
See, I do love Slayer and I do love Kerry King. My only problem is I think that all of Kerry King's guitar solos are super sloppy.
Yeah, they are.
They
Yeah.
just sound so sloppy.
Kind of all the same, too.
They are the same, but
no,
he
they're not-
argued all the time that like that was the sound that he was going for because of how evil they wanted to sound.
They're not the same because the solo for like Angel of Death isn't the same as the one for like Seasons in the Abyss. Like, but Five Finger Death Punch, all of their solos are exactly the same, literally the same
Yeah,
solo.
yeah. So, fun fact: did you know that Kerry King played in Megadeth?
I did not know that actually.
When Megadeth first started, he played live shows with them to support their first record.
No shit.
Yep.
Did you know that when Megadeth first started, the only reason Dave Mustaine's the lead singer because he couldn't find anybody else he liked?
Yeah.
He was like, I don't like that. Oh, fuck it. I'll just do it myself.
He's like, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
I can't handle these people.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of arrogant, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I guess it worked out.
They tried out. Well, he did try out singers, though. And he was like, I don't like that. Fuck it. I'll just do it. I'll just do it.
He was like,
I'm done.
you guys really aren't doing the sound that I want for my band, so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, it works out, you know.
Yeah.
But shit, I've been there, and a couple bands I've been in. We were looking for a bass player for so long, and then, like I was doing vocals, and I just fuck it, I'll just play bass and sing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's not working out. Wow, was that
was
a
that was a burp. I
Oh,
apologize.
I thought it was a death metal guttural.
Well, I mean, even with other bands though, like Dave Grohl was like, all right, let me just, you know, what? I want to be a new band. I'm just gonna make the Foo Fighters. I'll just play every instrument. I'll record an album. We'll be done.
Yeah.
And he
And then he
recorded
got-
every part. Every part.
And then he just got the band afterwards.
Yep.
Godlike. We don't deserve them.
Well, Pat Smear was like the first guitarist for the Foo Fighters too.
Really?
Yeah, from Nirvana.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
What, the Pat Smear? Well, he's the guitarist for him now.
Really?
Yeah. He left
See,
for
I never like really look up a lot
He
of
left
names
for a
unless
few
I'm
years.
super into them.
he left for a few years and then he came back. I shouldn't say he still is, but I know like 3 years ago he still was, because he left and then he came back.
Remember that time we were talking about metal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I remember.
I think it's.
I apologize. I got off
That's
topic.
okay. No, we do that often, and I
Yeah.
hope everybody
That's okay.
knows that.
though.
We said that in the first episode. We're like, hey, we have very loose topics because we're gonna go in and out.
I mean,
but-
it's not like you have a list of things like, yeah, we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, we have
this.
cue
If I
cards.
actually did the research and like wrote a script, I probably could, but I don't
Yeah.
do that. I just come in here. I'm like, hey, what the fuck are we talking about today? Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Oh yeah, dude, I remember Sabbath.
What
mean,
the fuck is jazz?
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about jazz today?
I once read a post that said like things to tell your guitarist the nice way. It's like, hey, dude, you're playing the wrong notes. It's like, wow, man, that sounds really jazzy. But all right, so who would you say, after Sabbath, Priest, Deep Purple, Alice Cooper, shit like that, would before we hit the 80s, like late 70s, metal band that had a big
Metal
influence?
band.
Oh, geez.
I mean, because if we're not going to get to the big four till next episode, I feel like we could even talk about that now.
I mean, so obviously Metallica. I mean, I know you don't want to really get into that, but like they are.
Kenny doesn't.
They are like the most influential metal band of all time. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I would say that. But so we're talking pre-80s? Well,
I
no,
mean,
Metallica
I'd say-
Metallica still came out in the late 70s.
What,
Their-
78?
Their first album was 83.
But I thought they like technically formed in like the late 70s.
I thought they formed in 81.
81.
They did?
Yep.
Okay. Damn. I thought I could. Well, yeah, no.
I don't know. It's hard for me to pick one that's in the late 70s.
Yeah.
I'd have to like Google metal bands from the late 70s.
I mean, like,
But when we didn't touch base on I think Iron Maiden, another big
Mhm.
forerunner
Mhm.
there.
well, there you go.
There's
70s.
there's your other British invasion too.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, speed metal, like I forget who you said, like Motorhead.
Motorhead.
I think those guys like maybe they got influence from Motorhead, but their riffs are just like you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
like fucking Run to the Hills, like
Yeah.
that's just they're just playing like the same chords as fast as fuck, like
Number of the Beast. I mean,
oh.
oh,
And as far as like a metal band goes in performance, stage show wise, I've never seen a fucking band put on a show like them.
they were one of the first bands to have 3 guitar players,
Yeah, and it worked.
and it worked.
Yeah, most of the time 3 guitar players do not work.
No,
Yeah.
because you got this meshing that just somebody runs over top of somebody else, and
At least in metal, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at country music, usually they have a lot of guitar players playing different types of guitars. But
yeah, steel lap guitars and shit like
yeah,
that.
but
Yeah.
like actually like just regular 6-string distortion guitars, they were one of the first bands to really make it sound good.
Yeah, and going back on what I had said earlier with drop tuning, you don't normally hear a lot of metal bands playing E standard. Like
Yeah,
for an
Yeah.
E standard band, like
they were
wow, they were
fast
heavy.
and heavy.
Yeah,
I mean, they're. I keep going back to thrash metal, but like, it's just these bands that really like started the whole metal scene. It leads to thrash metal for me
Yeah.
because
I would say that would be the next like bump up.
Yeah,
you know?
well, thrash metal was that fusion between the metal bands like Black Sabbath and the punk bands at the time too,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
the Ramones or Sex Pistols,
Misfits.
Misfits,
You had like the darker side and then like the brighter side, and it all kind of came
and it
together.
just came together and they just fucking went with it.
yeah,
And then it just created a new fucking genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a subgenre of something that's already done, and I don't know, man.
it makes me wonder, like, are there people that, like, back in the day, whenever they were writing music, were they sitting there like, what would this fall under? Like,
Well, I mean, at one point there were no genres. They're just like, I'm just gonna play this instrument.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
invented the electric guitar. Let me play that, and then you had like all that shit with like Elvis Presley and stuff. Where people were like, "Whoa!"
but like if you
Or-
look at
Well, originally blues, but
like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, like whenever they were writing that style of music, were they saying like, you know, what do we call this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not gonna be like they didn't all sit around in a room and be like, all right, well let's write some thrash speed metal songs.
Yeah.
They
They're
probably
like,
just wrote something and they were like, I don't know.
I really like how fast paced this stuff is. You know, let's make that the sound of our band.
Yeah.
You know, and you know at the time, like what would they call themselves? Like, yeah, we're the pioneers of thrash metal. Like, how would they know that? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
They wouldn't.
I don't think I see it. It would be like with NWA. They weren't supposed to be like they were just like, hey, let's write some rap music. What are we gonna sing about? Yo, fuck the police. And they're like, hey, these guys are gangster, and they just became the godfathers of gangster rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something they couldn't have classified then. I guess that's something we're spoiled on. Like if we want to learn or write a certain type of music, you can say, hey, I want to write like this.
Yeah, like me personally, like I get a lot of influence from like metalcore bands.
Yeah.
When I write guitars, so I'm like, well, you know, that'd be my genre, metalcore. Like it's already there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like
it's hard nowadays to write something
that's new,
brand fucking new that you've never heard.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're insanely talented, and I don't even mean that like in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to a lot of the stuff that's out there now that is this progressive metal, like instrumental stuff, that shit, those guys are phenomenal.
Yes.
Like Animals as Leaders.
Animals as Leaders, Polyphia, fucking Buried Alive. These guys are playing the guitar the way that nobody's ever fucking played it before.
I mean, I just discovered Polyphia not too long ago, and I'm just like how do you even think about playing
like,
that?
Now I know how people felt like watching Hendrix or something for the very first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Holy shit! Hold on, do that again.
I didn't
You
know. I didn't know you could make that sound on guitar. How'd
Yeah.
you do that? Like
It's insane. Like, and that's where it's going now, and it's crazy to see. Like, going back to the beginning of this conversation, this all stemmed from some fucking blues guy and some fucking British bands.
Yeah.
And now we have this fucking crazy like.
I mean,
I've never listened to any other type of music and been like, dude, I could fucking punch a toddler right now. You know what I mean? Like, metal has this grip on you that's just like, holy fuck. Like,
yeah.
I could have never imagined, like, moshing at a country concert or, like, you know, going to a Mac Miller show and, like, wanting to fucking spin kick somebody in the mouth. You know what I mean? Like, no, dude, that's just shit ain't gonna happen. It's just, metal, in my personal opinion, has touched my life in so many ways because it is such an express of emotion.
it is.
Whether it be through the screaming or through the lyrics, like those screams aren't just bullshit nonsense that you can't hear. If you listen to metal often, you can understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And that is in a release of emotion that they put into that certain part of the words for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like I've listened to metal songs that have made me fucking cry. I've listened to metal songs that make me fucking like want to lift a house. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's one of the strongest genres of music I've ever had the experience of listening to.
And going to like the emotional side of like metal singers in general, like I've listened to songs where you can like tell that they are just getting worked up while they're singing. And putting that raw emotion into music is what makes, I think, metal good in a sense. 'Cause I mean, just hearing like those imperfections in the recordings and stuff, it's just like, wow, like that person really put their heart into this.
Yeah,
You know?
it's not just the normal copy paste fucking song that you hear on the radio every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get into like real metal music, you're gonna have to go buy Sirius XM. You know what I mean? You're not gonna hear it on your local radio station. It's, I don't know, man. It's something else.
Yeah.
No, because the last time I actually I had to drive from here to like Mississippi. This was like 5 or 6 years ago. And it was like every like 2 hours, you're like, this is Cattle Decapitation's new song. I'm like, man, they would never play this on fucking Rock 104.
Yeah.
I
Holy
remember
shit.
a while back, like Rock 104, it's not a thing anymore.
It's not.
And I remember a while back, I did like a late night Walmart run, and they played like, I think it was Master of Puppets on Rock 104, and I was like, why don't they play this during the day? Like, that was the only time I ever heard metal on that station was when nobody was listening.
Yeah.
and that, I mean, that was just one of those things. I was like,
Radio stations do this thing where, hey, this new popular band is popular. Listen to their new popular song every 45 minutes.
Well,
Yes.
it's just record companies are like, hey, here's money, push this song.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not, here's the songs we have, just play them evenly and we'll see which one, like, pulls up. It's like, hey, this fucking Billie Eilish song, just play that song.
Yeah.
Play that, like, every, I don't know,
And, like,
45 minutes.
You got songs that are good, but then, like, if you're a constant listener to the radio, like, that shit gets overplayed
hear
and you
the
get fucking
same
tired of
song
it, dude.
Over and over.
I don't
again.
even know what song it was. I was driving and I was like, I think it was some song by The Weeknd. This is only like a week ago. And I'm like, I don't like that. So then like I hit one of my other presets and that same song was on. I'm like, okay. And then I hit the seek button. It went to a different station. Same song was on. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I hit the preset. I hit country. I'm like, I'm not listening to country. Hit the seek button again. It was like some shitty fucking Scorpion song. I'm like, no. Hit seek again. And then it was like the same song. I'm like, all right, I'm shutting the radio off. Where are my CDs? I'm pulling one out. Like, here's fucking, we're going to listen to fucking Protest Hero. We're done.
I've been in that same situation too. You'll finish listening to a song, you change the station because, like, I try to skip the commercials sometimes, and it's the same song on a different channel playing, and then you go back and then it's a different song.
I mean,
but it's like,
there are stations that overlap.
yeah,
There's a station in Canton that has the same playlist as a station in Youngstown. They're just one song apart. So
Yeah.
if you switch stations, you'll be like, oh, okay, I just heard the end of this song. And then say you're listening to one of the stations in Youngstown. You're like, okay, Stairway to Heaven finished. Oh, and here comes fucking Bon Jovi. I don't want to listen to Bon Jovi. You go, you're like, oh, they're playing Stairway to Heaven. Okay. Okay, it finished. Oh, it's the same Bon Jovi song I just fucking heard. And I only know this because it's happened to me multiple times. I've
Yeah.
switched back and forth. I was like, I don't like this station in Youngstown. I like this one in Canton better.
but
And
it's
I
the
just
same.
it's the same station.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that's why, at least nowadays, I can't say for back in the day, like in the 80s and shit, because, I wasn't born until 1990, but that's why metal's cool as fuck to me, because you have to go outside of the mainstream to find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, now you got Sirius XM, you got like shit like Octane and Liquid Metal and stuff like that.
Rap is kind of the same way, though.
Yeah.
You have to go. Can you name one rap station around here? Can you name one rap station in general? I'm sorry, they say fuck and the N word way too much to like be broadcast on.
Yeah.
It'd be
Radio.
just the beat playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's new,
For the record, the first time I ever heard Gold Digger, I'm like, why does it say broke twice? And then I found out.
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
What the fuck's a broke? Yeah, dude. I don't know. That's our basis right there. That's where we're gonna start.
We're
we
gonna
can go ahead
build
and
this
leave it at
fucking brick concrete building.
that. Yeah. Fuck that. We're gonna fucking melt down some goddamn fucking steel, and we're gonna pour and cast and make a metal building.
So here we are. We've mentioned Zeppelin. I think we've got a good base here. We have Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Priest,
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath,
Iron Maiden, Slayer.
Iron Maiden, and Slayer.
Briefly touched on Metallica.
Thrash
Which
is.
we're coming up with the big four next week, man.
Yeah.
There's gonna be more Slayer next week.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll
Yeah,
wear my Slayer shirt next week.
Yeah, I like. Well, we're like
The one that I've been in every fucking Facebook post with. I'll wear that same Slayer shirt.
I'll wear Norwegian death metal paint.
Yeah, there you
I'll
go.
look like Danny Filth when I come in.
And by the last
And I'll
episode,
just talk like this the whole time.
I'll be in Juggalo paint.
Yeah. By the last episode, I'll just be butt ass naked. All right, guys, we're here to talk about He Is Legend. And every time I die. Why are you naked? Why the fuck aren't you? I like to party. All right, guys. So, Mike, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
It's kind of impromptu, but you still got a lot of
Worked
good info
out.
out of you, man. You know what I mean?
Dave might be on next week,
Yeah?
unless he's a piece of shit. Well,
So
so
he's-
he won't. He's not going to be here.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be here. But motherfucker lives here. He asked us, he's like, hey, what if I just showed up on your podcast one day? I was like, all right. We just went downstairs. We're like, hey, dude, do you want to be on the podcast? He's like, but I'm not in it. Yeah, but you could be if you just come downstairs, dickhead. All right, so please be sure to do us a favor, and I know we say it every time, but if you guys check out our YouTube videos, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Doesn't cost you any money. All it does is send you some notifications if we pop up a new video.
And a like button.
Yeah, smash that like, man.
Yeah,
thumbs
smash
up.
that like button. If you're on social media, be sure to actually like our fucking page.
Yeah.
And share our page.
I've seen so many people who share our posts, and it's like, hey, would you like to invite such and such to like your page? And I'm like, they just shared my post. How do they?
Share our
How do they do
page.
that?
Like our page. Try and get some more exposure. We want to do more. We want to have more bands on here. We should be having a band here in about probably November.
Yeah, if not by the end of October, if not the next 2 weeks, we'll have them in 3.
Yeah. So we're gonna be doing. We're not gonna have like Periphery on, but
Yeah,
something.
it might be like Burn the Priest or something like that. All right, guys. Keep it classy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.